Today we are again continuing with the question answers of this chapter, and the first question of today is over here. Longer the loop of Henle, more concentrated or hypertonic is the urine. Justify. That means more the length of loop of Henle, more hypertonic or the concentrated urine will it be. Already we know that juxtaglomerular apparatus is there, juxtaglomerular nephrons are there which have longer loop of Henle, and this longer juxtaglomerular nephrons are usually present in the animals surviving in scarcity of water. In their body, reabsorption process occurs, maximum water is reabsorbed and maximum concentrated urine is excreted out. So what is the reason behind the concentration of the urine when the loop of Henle's length is more? So just have a look over here toward the answer. The descending limb is permeable to water. Means in the nephron, if I draw the diagram of the nephron, this is the Bowman's capsule, and over here comes the proximal convoluted tubule. This is a descending limb, ascending limb, distal convoluted tubule, and over here this is the collecting duct. So what happens? This is the descending limb and this is the ascending limb. So what happens? The longer the descending limb, that means more this descending limb is permeable to water. It allows the exit of water. It is permeable to water but not to the solutes or salt. So that means salts does remain in it only. Only the water is being removed out. Next, when the filtrate comes over here in the ascending limb, already the salt concentration is more. So now what will happen? This ascending limb is permeable to salts. So salts comes out and the concentrated filtrate is released into the collecting duct, from where it goes out in the form of urine. So this is the reason and this is the answer of the question. Now let's discuss the second question. Now students, here is our second question. Write short note on hormonal control of renal function, and this is also called as the renal pressure system. So in this the short note is there. So what is renal pressure system, or how the hormonal control of renal function is done? That means the role of the kidney, how the hormones acts over the kidney and how the functioning of the kidney is controlled by the hormones. We know that kidneys are meant for excretion, for removal of the nitrogenous waste products. But apart from the excretion, kidney also work as an endocrine gland. When the blood pressure decreases, during that time renin is secreted, and this renin it enters into the blood because it is secreted in the blood. So this renin enters into the blood, and in the blood globulin proteins are present. These globulin proteins, they are called as angiotensinogen. So renin acts on the globulin proteins present in the blood. Now what will happen? This angiotensinogen, it combines with renin, or renin acts over angiotensinogen, and then this angiotensinogen is converted to angiotensin 1. This is a form of globin protein only. Then this angiotensin 1 is further acted upon by renin only, and it is transformed to angiotensin 2. This angiotensin 2, it increases, it meant for increase in the blood pressure. Then how it functions? So what will happen? This angiotensin 2, it enters into the adrenal cortex. It enters into the cortex part of the adrenal gland, and in the adrenal gland it starts secreting, or it stimulates the adrenal gland to secrete the hormone aldosterone. This aldosterone, it initiates the reabsorption or retention of sodium along with the water. So when sodium and water reabsorption is initiated, so the blood volume increases. And apart from the increase in the blood volume, it also helps in the, or it also initiate the constriction or contraction of the arterioles. When the contraction of the arterioles increases, the diameter of the arterioles decreases. As a result, the blood pressure increases. So what it makes that blood volume increases and blood pressure increases. An increase in blood pressure stops the secretion of renin. So here this is called as the renal pressure system or hormonal control of renal action. So just have a look over here what I have written on the board. Apart from excretion, kidneys act as endocrine gland and secrete hormones, because endocrine glands only secrete the hormones. So kidney also act as an endocrine gland. Then it monitors the blood pressure, it checks the blood pressure and initiate the corrective action when blood pressure drops. So when blood pressure goes down, then kidneys take the initiative to control the blood pressure or to make the blood pressure comes to normal. Then it secretes the renin into the blood via renal vein. That means when the blood pressure drops or when blood pressure lowers down, then kidneys secrete renin into the blood through renal vein. Now this renin, it acts on angiotensinogen in blood. Angiotensinogen is a globulin protein. It is a globulin protein which is present in the blood, and this angiotensinogen is acted upon by renin and it forms angiotensin 1. This angiotensin 1 further transformed, because it is acted upon by renin only, so it is transformed to angiotensin 2. This angiotensin 2, it is the active material and it has the pressor activity. Its role is pressor activity. So two roles or two functions is performed by this angiotensin 2. First is that it increases the heartbeat. That means it makes the arterioles to contract. When contraction of the blood vessels occurs, then the blood will move with faster rate. So that means blood pressure increases. Second is that angiotensin 2, it acts on the adrenal cortex in the adrenal gland and it stimulates the secretion of the hormone, that is aldosterone. So aldosterone, when this angiotensin 2 is there, it acts on the adrenal gland and stimulates the secretion of aldosterone hormone. And this aldosterone hormone, its role is to increase the retention of sodium and water by the kidney tubules. That means the reabsorption of water and salt is done through the renal tubules. As a result, this increases the blood volume because the salt and water, it enters into the blood, and the blood pressure also increases. When blood pressure increases, renin production decreases. So here kidney is checking the blood pressure also. So this is called as the renal pressure system. Now just look over here, the flow chart of the answer. Hormonal control of renal function or renal pressure system. So in this flow chart, the complete, you will understand that blood pressure decreases. When the blood pressure decreases, during that time kidneys release renin in the blood. When renin is released in the blood, this renin acts on angiotensinogen, which is a globin protein present in the blood. So when renin acts on angiotensinogen, this angiotensinogen is converted to angiotensin 1, which is further converted to angiotensin 2. Now this angiotensin 2, it constrict the arterioles. It decreases the diameter of the arterioles and thus the blood pressure increases. Second is that this angiotensin 2, it acts on the adrenal cortex and initiate the adrenal cortex to release the hormone aldosterone. This aldosterone, it increases the retention of sodium ions and water in the blood. So what will happen when the sodium ions and water are absorbed in the blood? Blood volume increases. Blood volume increases and the blood pressure also increases. When this blood pressure increases, then the renin production or the secretion, it stops. So it is what? It is the pressor system. So this occurs in the kidney. So we call it as the renal pressor system. Now students, here we are with the next question. What is the significance of juxtaglomerular apparatus in kidney functions? So already we have discussed about this juxtaglomerular apparatus. Now what is its role in the kidney function? So look over here. When glomerular filtration rate decreases, that means what is glomerular filtration rate? That is 125 milliliter of filtrate is formed in 1 minute. Okay. So that means in 1 minute, this one, how much filtrate is formed. So due to that, that is called as glomerular filtration rate. And when this glomerular filtration rate decreases, then the blood pressure also decreases. Because in the blood, the component is not there. Okay, so blood pressure decreases. Thus, decrease in the blood pressure. This decrease in the blood pressure activates the juxtaglomerular apparatus to secrete the hormone, that is renin. Okay, so this decrease in blood pressure, it activates the juxtaglomerular apparatus to secrete hormone renin. That means renin is secreted from the juxtaglomerular apparatus present in the kidney. Now further, you know what is the role of renin. Just now only we have discussed this thing in the previous question, that renin acts on the angiotensinogen, the globin protein present in the blood, and it forms angiotensinogen 2. Okay, angiotensin 2. That means angiotensinogen is acted upon by renin and then it is converted to angiotensin 1, which is further converted to angiotensinogen 2. And this angiotensin 2, it is called as a vasoconstrictor. That means it increases the constriction, or we say that it decreases the diameter of the blood vessels. When the diameter of the blood vessels decreases, then the blood pressure increases because the blood has to move with a great pressure in a less diameter. So what will happen? Angiotensin 2 is a vasoconstrictor and it increases the blood pressure by increasing the glomerular filtration rate. So when this angiotensin 2 is acted on the vessels, blood vessels, blood pressure increases, and with the increase in the blood pressure, glomerular filtration rate also increases. So this is the answer of this question. Now students, here is our next question. Give a brief account of counter current mechanism. In this we have to explain the counter current mechanism. So you already know that what is counter current mechanism. Actually in counter current mechanism, when we look over the diagram of the nephron, we know that the loop of Henle is what? It is a U-shaped tube structure, and a parallel tube runs along with a tube runs parallel to the loop of Henle, that is the vasa recta. So when we look at the diagram, or when we make a U shape, so in this we can clearly see that this is the descending limb and this is the ascending limb. So when the filtrate moves in the loop of Henle in this direction, that means it is moving downward, and in this it is moving upward. That means the direction of the flow of filtrate is opposite to each other. Similarly, when we talk about the vasa recta runs parallel to the loop of Henle. and again it forms the U-shaped structure. So that means on one limb of vasa recta the blood is moving downward and on the other limb the blood is moving upward. So that means both the limbs of vasa recta have the movement of the blood in opposite direction. So this movement of the filtrate in loop of Henle and movement of blood in vasa recta opposite directions is called or form the counter current system. Now what happens, what is the use of this counter current system in the filtration process? Just have a look over here. See here, the flow of filtrate in the two limbs of loop of Henle and the flow of blood in the two limbs of vasa recta are in opposite direction, as now just I explain you. So their movement is in opposite direction, so they form the counter current system. The interstitial gradient of sodium chloride is maintained by the loop of Henle. That means interstitial gradient of sodium chloride. What do you mean by interstitial gradient? Interstitial, first of all we have to understand what is the meaning of interstitium. In the kidney, or we say in our body, there is no hollow space. In kidney also there is no hollow space and it is completely occupied by the cells. So the cells lying between the nephron is called as the interstitium, and or we call it as the interstitial cells. So the salt concentration present in these cells, or the gradient maintained by the salts in these cells, is called as the interstitial gradient. So over here it is that interstitial gradient of sodium chloride in these cells is maintained by the loop of Henle because sodium chloride comes out from this. The next is that urea diffuses out from the collecting duct. The filtrate enters into the collecting duct and this collecting duct, it contains urea. So what happens, this urea from the collecting duct, it enters into the interstitial fluid or in the cells, and from there it further enters into the ascending limb of loop of Henle. So just look over here, urea diffuses out from the collecting duct into the interstitial fluid of the medulla, that is the medullary pyramid, that is in the kidney only, and further diffuses back to the ascending limb. That means urea, it has entered into the collecting duct. If I draw the diagram over here, this is the collecting duct, and over here this is DCT, this is collecting duct. Okay, so urea has entered over here, and from here it enters into the cells of interstitial fluid, and from where it enters into the ascending limb. This is the ascending limb, so it enters into or diffuses into the ascending limb of the loop of Henle. So thus counter current mechanism, it helps to maintain the concentration gradient between the medullary interstitium and the urinary tubules. Means the medullary cells or the interstitial cells present in the medulla as well as the urinary tubule, that is the nephron. So the concentration gradient is maintained between these two, and that is done by counter current system. As filtrate moves in the collecting duct, means when the filtrate enters into the collecting duct, water moves out of the tubule. Filtrate is entering into the collecting duct and water comes out from the collecting duct. And when water comes out from the collecting duct, that means the filtrate has become concentrated, and now we say that the urine has become concentrated. So here you can see that as filtrate moves in the collecting duct, water moves out of the tubule by osmosis and urine becomes concentrated. So this is the counter current mechanism which occurs in the loop of Henle because of the movement of the filtrate in the opposite direction. In descending limb, filtrate is moving downward, and in ascending limb, filtrate is moving upward. Now students, here we are having the longitudinal section of the kidney. This is the diagram. Just have a look over here properly about all the labelings. So see here, you can see that this is the kidney, and this outer covering of the kidney is called as the renal capsule. It is called as the renal capsule, and it is divided into two parts, the outer cortex part and the inner medulla part. So here we call as the cortex region. This is the outer region is called as the cortex region, and the inner pyramid shaped structures, these are located in the medulla region, so they are called as medullary pyramids. Next comes over here that these pyramids, they contain the nephrons, and these thread-like structures, these are the nephrons. So nephrons which are projected outside, they comes to be known as the cortical nephrons, and which are inside the pyramids, they are called as the medullary nephrons. Then between the two pyramids, the space is there. This is called as the renal column of Bertini. It is called as renal column of Bertini. And between the two pyramids, you can see the small cap-like structure. It is called as the minor calyx because of its small size. And over here, there is large size structure called as the major calyx. Below the nephrons, in the medullary pyramid, these space is there. It is called as the renal papilla. And these medullary pyramids, the nephrons present over here, all the nephrons, they excrete out, they pour their secretions into the branch structure which is called as the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis is there, which opens out into the ureter, and this curved line of the kidney through which ureter comes out, this part is called as hilum. This portion is called as hilum. Now here you can see the renal vein and renal artery. Here is the renal artery through which blood enters inside the kidney, and this renal artery is bringing oxygen plus nitrogenous waste. And after filtration, the blood goes out into the renal vein, and renal vein is rich in carbon dioxide but free from nitrogen waste. It is free from nitrogen waste because all the blood has been filtered out by the kidney, and the filtrate has been removed by the nephrons. So here is the longitudinal section of the kidney.